Cheryl Cole becomes the host on the BBC for an R&B podcast.
Okay.
So, for people that don't know, Cheryl Cole was a part of Girls Aloud.
Right.
I'm saying Cheryl Cole. It's not even Cole anymore. She's back to Tweedy.
She still keeps the name, no?
Does she? I don't think she does.
Yeah,
I think she just calls herself Cheryl now.
I asked Shindy this, and she was like, "It just sounds so much better than Tweedy. Like it's a branded name now."
She was married to Ashley Cole for years. He cheated on her. She got divorced. She was a judge in the X Factor. I think I said she was a part of Girls Aloud, and now she's sort of just doing her own thing as an influencer or whatever, just a person who's famous and in the media spotlight.
Right.
And yeah, she was made the host of the R&B podcast. And the reason why this caused a lot of issues is because she isn't an R&B singer.
So what does she know about it?
So what does she know about it? Now, this is quite significant because R&B, a lot of people don't know this. Well, you might assume it, but R&B is predominantly from black culture. So if you Google it, right. R&B actually started in the 1940s, and it was created in place of music that black people used to make. It used to just be called race music.
Race music? Okay.
Yeah, they used to call black people music race music, and then instead they called it R&B. So it has very strong black roots behind it, right? And obviously it's evolved over the years and it's changed, and now you have more white people getting into the space. Completely understandable, I get it. But to have something like that, I think it's the BBC trying to do that double thing where they're like, okay, we'll get someone in who's a fan but has a big enough following to allow us to leverage their following to get people to listen to it, to boost our listener numbers. That's how you do it in a certain way so that you get better listenership. And I'm not sure how demographics are for R&B music anymore, because I would think it would still be predominantly mixed race. But because of the rise of other people who aren't R&B singers, like Sam Smith, Jess Glynn, well, not R&B singers, but they're not black, Jess Glynn, etc. Who's the other one I mentioned? I had somebody else written down. Ollie Murs, yeah, he's another one.
Okay.
Maybe the demographics have changed a little bit to now be a whiter audience. You don't know. We don't have access to all that information. Maybe the BBC knows something that we don't. But there's still people from that era of music that you could pick. You could have picked Craig David. You could have picked Jamelia.
Yeah. So you're pointing to other people.
Yeah, and there's other people who are black that could have.
Craig David would have been lit, man.
Craig David would have been really good.
Everybody
and he's still relevant today.
Exactly, resonates with. Like, he's timeless, man.
Yeah.
Like, he comes along every so often and he goes like.
And he still drops a banger here and there, and I'm like,
drops
Craig,
a few songs, and you're like, this guy can still sing. Yeah, exactly, man. Like, jumps on a bus, just sings a song, and
Still got it. Still got it. Yeah, so listenership, maybe the listener numbers are down a little bit, and maybe they've changed demographics, but I can guarantee that hip hop is still minority based, and it's based around a lot of black people. Even in the UK, it's still probably focused in that direction. It did make me think, though, maybe this is a reverse typecast. Go on.
What is the difference between R&B and hip hop?
So hip hop is more about the lyrical content of what you're singing. So R&B is more based around like soul. Well, it's based around rhythm and blues, which is classical slow music, right? And then from that spawns hip hop later in like the 80s and 90s. And then hip hop started in a bit of R&B-esque fashion. Then it started veering into the other direction of like, we're going to make it more lyrical. We're going to make it
rappy.
We're going to make it more rapping, more based on the actual words that you're saying. And then we're going to make it more about the streets, more about your struggle, more about gang life, hood life, etc. And now it's like a different thing completely. But that's what hip hop was sort of based on. I think I've done it justice there. There's obviously a lot more to it. But there is a distinctive difference. Like if I played somebody a song and said, this is R&B and this is hip hop, they would understand exactly as to what I mean. If I played it from the 90s era. If I played like...
So for example, give me a Jay-Z.
So if I played Biggie hip-hop. Smalls, right?
Right.
Kicking the door, waving the 4-4, that's hip hop, yeah? And then if I play R&B from that same era of the 90s, let's say Jagged Edge, you can tell the difference between the two. Jagged Edge is very I'll make love to you, right, that one. And Biggie's like, I'm gonna fucking shoot you. There's a difference. It's not the same.
Stark difference.
Right, there's levels to it. So, you can tell the difference. Maybe today the lines are a bit blurred because the music's all starting to sound the same. Yeah. So, going back to it, I think it may be a reverse typecasting because, in a way, the BBC may be taking a stand against typecasting itself, where they're putting a person forward who is a fan but has a large enough audience to back up the reason why they've put them in place.
When's this going
I don't
live?
know. It's live now. The episode 1 was put out. Episode 1 was put out and people were pissed. They're like, why is she the host?
Episode 1. So this presumably is a pilot, so we'll see if
It's a 12-part series.
Wow, this is quite a lot, isn't it? It's quite a long pilot. So we'll see if it's got any legs. But yeah, it's definitely becoming this thing now where people, they are famous for something.
And then they leverage it for something else.
Yeah, and they do all these random things and you're just like, okay, I get it, but it's just like, it's weird.
It is easier to get traction with someone that's known though, right? So say if
absolutely.
Say if someone has a following and they launch a podcast, they're more likely to get listenership than say someone that was a has been. I'm not saying they are.
Yeah, indeed.
Someone who hasn't put something out in years. What are you saying about me for?
That's not like I just found someone who's famous and jumped on their podcast. And
I should have, but I can't. I'm struggling, man. I'm trying to make inroads. But think of the audience that she's built being on the X Factor all those years. People are like, oh my God, it's Cheryl from Middle England. They're like, oh, let me listen to R&B music and listenership and try and be cultured. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that they're being cultured.
Maybe, I do like your point. Maybe the demographic has changed and we don't know. But yeah, if you're thinking stereotypically, it's not demographic I would have thought of.
Yeah, you would have thought so.
Yeah.
So that was a nice controversial topic for the week gone by. Let us know your thoughts in the comments if we missed anything. Tell us your insights if you see
Tell
anything
us
different.
about episode 1. How was episode 1? Was it good? Did you enjoy
episode
it? Why
1?
did you enjoy
What do you
it?
mean? Oh, the episode 1 of
the
that
show.
podcast.
Yeah, Cheryl. Yeah, not us.
You really
man.
think people are going to
Everyone-
listen to it? I'm not telling you.
everyone
No,
enjoys
don't
it.
listen to it. They got enough listeners, man. Right? I need you lot to
Right,
stay on platform.
right.
Okay?
Podcast. Listen to Indy. What Indy says, 2% man.
Stay on our podcast, please. Thank you.
That's it.
Please don't turn off. Thank you. Appreciate it. Much love. If I look at our analytics now, people have dropped off. Yeah, I'm coming for you, Karen.